Hey y'all, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I'm Barbara. In case you are brand new here, I am in Zone 7A in the state of Tennessee. And today, y'all, it happened again. Somebody done ate my stuff. I came out to the tunnel this morning and all of my kale was eaten up. I did a video probably a week or so ago and I said we're about to have war. And apparently they still want to fight. So I'm in my tunnel and I'm gonna see what I can do to keep this from happening. I bought some more hoops. I'm looking around because I know I brought them down here. Let me get the stuff and then I'm gonna come back. Okay, y'all, I went to get supplies and I don't have everything I need. I gotta order some more insect netting. So this is a great lesson in making sure that you have the tools and supplies you need when it comes to your garden. And this is one of the things, I did this, I think in the spring where I went through and I did a video talking about the supplies that you need for the seed starting season and all of the stuff that was coming up and making sure that you have everything that you need, your labels, your markers, all that good stuff. So now I need to incorporate doing something like that, I guess in the summertime for the upcoming fall and winter, because I'm short on landscape staples and I need another insect netting. Originally, I was not going to cover this kale because the kales, they hadn't bothered it. But apparently, they like kale too, as well as they like my collard greens. So my kale is eaten up. I have one more insect netting, but I was actually going to plant out my cabbages and my broccoli today and was going to cover that for fear of the caterpillar worms and stuff like that. So really, I had bought the original insect netting to deal with pest damage in terms of caterpillars and things like that until we got cold enough to where I didn't have to worry about those things. I never thought about doing insect netting to prevent them from being eaten because I've never had an issue with that. I've never had an issue at all with the kale, the collard, any of that stuff being eaten. That just goes to show you on this journey, how one season looks is not the way the other season looks. So I can't believe this has happened to me again. Not that I'm special, but I'm like, I've never had to deal with this. And now I'm having to deal with it. So I only have one more insect netting, and it's not even long enough to cover the whole row. So I had bought insect netting for the raised beds, which you can kind of see behind me there. And I did, a size enough to cover it. And then I ended up buying two more to help with the collard green row. But again, they're not long enough to go the whole row. So my husband just said, order one that's long enough for the whole row so we can just cover the whole row at one time. Then I also ordered some more like wire hoops or tinsel wire. That didn't work. So I just went back to my original plan of those wire hoops that I showed you 2 weeks ago in the video and all of that. Now my husband has come out here and decided he wants to weed eat, but I'm not going to complain because he's actually doing something for me. So let me show you my kale and what happened. And I think I'm going to have to wait on my order to come in before I can deal with it, because to do all that I wanted to do. I can either plant my cabbages and broccoli or I can cover my kale, but I don't have enough to do both. And that just really frustrates me. Because when you have a finite amount of time, you're trying to get as much done as you can. Y'all, I'm venting. I'm complaining. I'm going to stop it right here. Let's move on. This is real life, though. This is real life. Sometimes you come out to your garden and you're happy, and sometimes you come out here and you're like, what just happened? Real life. But let me show you some goodness that's going on out here. Let me show you this because this is bringing me great joy. Look at my microgreens, y'all. Ah! Is that not beautiful? Do y'all see that? A sea of microgreens. I'm so in love. So in love. Okay, this is the best I've been able to do on microgreens. I think I had told y'all I had started learning microgreens earlier. Let me see, when's the first time I did it? Maybe the spring, March time frame. I did it and they were good, but it wasn't exactly the way I wanted. Like I wasn't getting good coverage. Y'all, everything except this little one corner right here is covered. Look at that. Do y'all see the height on that? Look at that. so excited. So let me know if y'all want me to talk about microgreens. I'm doing a class in January about how to start microgreens. You remember I did my first class last month on how to grow food, a beginner's guide. And so I'm doing a class in January for the community and for anybody who wants to come locally, and we'll stream it as well. So if you want to be a part of that, you can. But I'm going to be talking about how to start microgreens, the benefit and the value of microgreens, and all of that. And so since it's been a while since I've done it, I kind of like laid it off this summer just because space, time, and all that. I said, let me get back to it since it's the fall and the winter. It's so loud. So loud, y'all. I can't even hear myself thinking. This video may be a bust. If y'all see it, just laugh along with me because I can't even hear myself thinking. Let's put the microgreens on pause. Let us go out here and check in with the hubby and see what is going on. Okay, you saw my husband weed eating. We're in the outside garden now. And so he is weed eating, trying to get everything as low as possible because we're about to do another round of paper. So to catch you up, for those that are new, we have a in-ground garden space outside that we will be soon putting to bed because we will not be growing out here this fall and winter, but it certainly produced a lot this summer. We use weed fabric. That's how we control our weeds. We love it. We've always done that since we've gardened, and I would not have it any other way. This space, we expanded. Last year, it was about 2,100 square feet. This year, we expanded it to 4,000 square feet. So it's 40 by 100. And so we have wheat fabric in all of the spaces that we grew. But on the sides and the expansion and stuff like that, we never quite got finished with putting the landscape fabric or the wheat fabric down. So we are trying to capitalize with cooler temperatures, a little bit less to do, and not the mad rush of the summer harvest by putting this paper down and hopefully have it in place before it gets too cold so we are good and covered before the fall and winter, and kind of put this to bed. So we already did this far row where the watermelon patch was. I think I showed you that. So the next thing we're going to do is this section here. Let's like consider the front of the garden. And then we have like the back row. And then I think the very last row or the very last section he'll do will be this row on the right-hand side up against the right-hand side of the fence. So what we're doing in terms of landscape fabric, so I use what I have down where my plants are is by Farmer's Friend. It came with pre-cut holes. I cannot say enough about this paper. It is absolutely wonderful. So the paper I have down are pre-cut 18-inch holes, 18 inches apart among the row. You can buy it on Farmer's Friend. They have all different kinds of configurations. You will see when we get to the other side of the fence, I'm going to be laying some new fabric down that has a different configuration. And when we do that, I'll tell you why and what we're doing and why I'm doing it that way. But for everything that you've seen in the garden this summer, it's 18 inches apart. And the pre-cut holes saves a lot of time. Last year, we cut holes ourselves, or little squares. Again, you can do that. It's just not the ideal way because you have to cut all those holes yourself. And because they're not perfectly round and symmetrical, they look all different shapes, and they tear and they fray because we didn't burn them. We just cut them with like a razor cut. So I think he's ready to, you ready to start back up with the noise? Okay, he's ready to get noisy again. So let me come back. One of the things he's doing now is he's getting ready to put the paper down, is he's digging this up right here. I guess it was just a mound of dirt, honey?
Yeah, just a mound of dirt.
And so I think he's trying to flatten it out so the paper will lay flat and not be lumpy. Is that what you're doing? Okay, so that's what he's doing. It's nice to work out here with these temperatures, although we're going to lose daylight here. So the fall brings a couple of things. So we're definitely enjoying the temperatures of the fall. The thing is, it gets dark an hour and a half earlier than what we're used to, because you know in the summer we out here until it is dark, and then we put the lights on and we still working. Now with the cooler temperatures, you can get out here around the same time, but you don't have as much time to work. It's getting dark like around 6:30 where we are now. Typically, my goal is to get out here like at 4. That never happens. And at 4 o'clock, it's still like, it was hot today. It was like 87 degrees. And so it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're out here working in the direct sun, and this gets direct sun, and then you go to the greenhouse, which is even hotter, it's too hot to work. So you still have to kind of wait till the temperature cools down. But when it cools down, it cools down. Like, it's really, really nice out here. So anyway, that's what we're doing. In terms of the insect netting and all of that, I've already ordered some more insect netting. I've ordered some more staples. So I'm not going to be able to do both of those. I can only do one of those. But I think what I'm going to do now is just hang out and help hubby as much as I can, because we only have a few minutes before it gets dark. But it's going to be nice to have all of this covered. Also, let me show you and give you an update on the watermelons while we're waiting to lay the paper. So on one of my last videos, let me see if I can take you over here. Y'all, my tripod has broken. So when I say I got this whole thing like rigged up, it's janky. I have another one in the house. I have two. I have one at my house and I have one down here. And I have two on purpose so that I don't have to keep taking them back and forth when I'm recording up there versus when I'm doing content down here. But the one down here has broken. So I got to order me another one, but I need to get the one from up there. But if y'all could just see the setup I got right here. So that's why I'm trying to like stay stationary, because it's a whole feat to move it around. But because I love you, I'm going to take you with me over here so you can see. Okay, y'all see we still have some watermelons on the vine. So on my last video, I told you there was like 15 or 20 watermelons out here. I still see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. My husband picked 13 and brought them to the house. And we still have, like I said, at least 10 or 15 more. The ones that he left out here, he felt like they were not ready. Like the tendril was still like thick and stuff like that. So he left them out here, but he brought 13. We cut open 3 last night. 2 out of the 3 that we cut open were not good whatsoever. Like, it was almost like hollow on the inside. Like, it had a whole lot of juice, but not a whole lot of meat. So I don't know if it wasn't. Oh, I see a deer. Y'all, it's side story. When we first moved to the country, remember, I had never lived in the country, I only lived in the city. I would just like be awed by the deer. I would be like, oh my goodness, y'all, there's a deer. And we would call out around the house and say, y'all, there's a deer in the backyard. We would all crowd around, look out the window, and just be amazed by the deer. We were taking pictures. We were doing all the things. Like, we just thought it was so nice to have deer. And like, man, we really are in the country because we have deer. Now when I see those deer, they anger me. Do you hear me? It's funny how it changes. It's so funny because when we went to some zoo, like after we had moved here, I think we were in California, we went somewhere to some zoo or something, and we went to Gatlinburg or the mountains. Anyway, there were some deer there, and everybody was just like, oh my goodness, look at the deer. They were taking pictures. Yeah, we drove on by. Like, who cares? Who cares about the deer? But that just shows you your perspective. When you see it all the time, it's not a big deal. And when you know that they're a threat to your food, you really are not awed at all. So I see like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deer over there. Now, we have been blessed that the deer have not eaten our food. And so we have a fence now, but this is the first year we had a fence. The first 2 years, we did not have a fence. God blessed us tremendously, and we never had issues with deer eating our food. I think our dogs definitely help. And like I said, they get close. Like, I can see them off in the distance. And my dogs are not even paying attention, but you let them walk down here, I guarantee my dogs will go after them and running. And they just looking. And it's another thing. When we first moved out here, the deer were like respectful. Like, when they would see us, they would take off running. Now, they just stand there and look like, what you gonna do? Like, this is my land. It's not your land. Anyway, y'all, I'm on something different today. My kale done got messed up. What I had planned to do is not coming together. So that means this video is a hodgepodge, and this is real life. Okay, this is a peek into real life. But anyway, they're just standing there. They're just standing there over here looking. And my dogs playing with each other, they ain't even paying no attention. No attention. Okay, so he's dug that part out. He's getting ready to roll the paper out. You need some help? Well, I'm not gonna ask twice. I would ask twice, y'all. But he said he got it. So you starting from this end right here. Now he doing all this, and he know my tripod broken. He got me with this 2-legged tripod. Y'all, it's a whole mess. My dogs did get after the deer. I hate I didn't get it on camera. But as soon as I walked towards that way, they saw those deer. They got to moving. And all you saw was white tails coming up. So this paper here does not have any holes in it because this is going to be an area where nothing will be planted. This is literally just the walkway. So I mentioned that where you see vegetables and stuff, those are in holes that are 18 inches apart throughout the whole thing. The paper that we got here is just regular woven weave fabric. It's still of the good quality that we had before. It just doesn't have any holes because we don't plan to plant anything in it. So this will save us from having any weeds in this area. So he was just going to roll that all the way down to cover it, and then we'll secure it with landscape staples. So while my husband's doing that, I'm just sitting here reflecting, and I've had so many different emotions with the season changing when it comes to the garden. Part of me is happy with the break that we're about to have. It has been full throttle on since we started seeds, like nonstop. Yeah, just nonstop. And so you can already tell the season is slowing down. I still feel like I have a long to-do list, but there's not nearly as much to do just because things are slowing down with the change of the season. So part of me is happy about that and excited to not have every moment just completely filled with harvesting, pruning, sowing seeds, and all of that. But there's another part of me that yearns and longs for that same activity, if that makes sense. It's just a strange dichotomy. And that's why you have to enjoy it while you're in it. And that's why I try to focus on not complaining when the times are tough and when the days are long and when the summer is hot, because just before you know it, it's going to be gone. And as the days are starting to get shorter and the harvests are starting to get less, and there's, no pruning of tomatoes and all of that. Like I said, part of me is happy, and we're going to take this break and this rest, even though we'll still be growing in the tunnel. But there's another part of me that's like, wow, what am I supposed to do with all my time? Which I got plenty to fill up my time. Let's be honest with that. I still have a long to-do list. I still have preservation projects, long list of stuff to be done in the house and preserve all the stuff that we did. But isn't that strange, that dichotomy between the different emotions? Before you know it, y'all, we will be longing and waiting for seed catalogs. We'll be waiting to start seeds. And around about January, February, you're going to want to taste a real good tomato. You're going to get real tired of your sun-dried tomatoes. You're going to get real tired of your tomato powder. You're going to want to be able to eat you a sandwich with a juicy red tomato. I know I will by February or March. You're like, okay, I'm done with that. You're going to want you some good old squash. You're going to want all the stuff that summer brings. And so I encourage you to live in each moment, live in each season, even when it's hard and when it's tough, because before you know it, it is fleeting. It will be gone. So as we kind of transition into this fall, winter season, get your mind geared up for the collard greens, the lettuce, the spinach, the kale, and all of that good stuff. Because again, it's only for a season. It's only for a season. So he is cutting paper now. I think he's going to try to get at least a couple of strips down before it gets too dark. So I'm going to jump in and help him out. I will definitely show you guys the progress on the next video. But I want to say thank you guys for joining me today. It's kind of a hodgepodge. What I was going to do a video on did not quite pan out, but that's okay. That's part of it. That you come out to your tunnel sometimes and you like, there is war yet again. So I gotta order it. So that I learned a lesson. I gotta have some stuff on hand. So I gotta order some more stuff, which I've already ordered my stuff to be able to securely take care of whatever. And then I hope and pray between the next 2 nights they don't pull it completely up out of the ground and eat it. Because as long as the roots are in there, it'll grow back. But it just set me back. The kale was looking good. It was 25-40% of the way there, and they just then came and cleaned it up. Cleaned it up. So that's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. But my microgreens look good. So in the garden, you have some wins, you have some losses, you have some ups, and you have some downs. It's all part of the journey. Remember, let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.